Now, in previous lessons, I talked about creating custom content types, in which I've already created two: novels and movies. If we go into movie, you'll notice that I have two movies. If I click into any movie, all I really have is just text fields to type in, right? And likewise, if I clicked into novels, I only have text fields to type in. Okay, just text fields. Now, one thing that would be useful for searching and helpful to users is, movies has additional fields that pages and novels might not have, right? So let's say, for example, movies. What could be a piece of information that movies will have that pages and novels don't have? So one example is film duration, right? So you can say something like Forrest Gump was a 2-hour movie, but the concept of 2 hours isn't relevant to novels, pages, or posts, but it's still a useful piece of information to record against your post type or your movie post type, right? Another field that could be interesting for movies could be a field called user rating, right? This film gets an 8 out of 10. But for pages, it's not really that relevant to say that this page is rated at 8 out of 10, right? Novels, yeah, some people can say you can apply ratings to novels as well, right? Or year of publication could be relevant to novels, but not to movies, because movies have a release date instead, for example. So those are fields that sometimes you might want to add to your custom content types. And we can do that through a feature or a plugin called Advanced Custom Fields, which I have downloaded, but I didn't activate yet. So if you actually go hit Add New, and if you haven't downloaded, you can actually look for Advanced Custom Field. Let's see if it shows up. And sometimes it can be hard to find because there's so many of these plugins. Let's see which one it is. It's not any of these. Maybe if I just type ACF, because that's what it's also popularly known as. Okay, so we are, here it is, this one, advanced past tense D custom fields. That's why I wasn't able to find it. So I go ahead and activate it. I'll install and activate it, and you'll get a new option somewhere here. Let's see, here, custom fields. And you'll see that I already created novel fields for these novels, but what I'll do is I'll start a new one, add new group, and let's say movie fields. And what are some fields relevant to movies? Well, I can say, like we said, duration, right? The film length. Could be like 2 hours, could be 3 hours. Field label, this is the name which will appear in the edit page. Right, so this is okay. And field name, single word, right. So this is the machine, what do you call it? This is a URL friendly term that you can actually start posting in here, and it's going to be friendly for the database. What type of field is this? It's a text field. Let's say it's a number field, right? Because we want to put in the number of hours or maybe the number of minutes. Right? Let's say number of minutes. So this is a useful tooltip. We'll make it a required field. And you can play with all these different options here. Okay? All right, so next thing you want to do is rules. We've created the field, but we want to apply it to where the post type is equal to a movie. So we only want this field relevant to movies. And I think the rest of these are, these are all options that you can play with. They're not as crucial. I'll hit publish. So now we have a duration field. So let's add another field, release date. All right, release date, and they will publish it as that. Let's make this a date field. The offer date field, basic content choice. Relational jQuery date picker, right? So then we can pick a release date for this. We can make this a required field as well. And this is only relevant to, movies. Okay. Go ahead and hit update. And now if we actually go to a movie, movies, go to movies. If we click the Forrest Gump, you'll notice down here that we now have two new fields, duration and release date, which I think it's a bit hard for you to see here. Maybe I'll do this there. And this will come up with, so this was released, I don't know exactly when this was released. Let's just say it was released in the 1996, right, on that date, and you hit update. And there we go. So now Forrest Gump has a release date. So that's one way to add new fields to this content type. Now, what you may want to do next is, just because you have advanced custom fields here, it doesn't mean that it's going to be viewable. By default, WordPress templates only print out this main content area and whatever widgets you have for that particular template. We're using the default template right now. So if I click to view movie, you'll see that all I get is just the main text box. But if you want to print out those custom fields over here, you're going to need to modify one of your templates. Right now, this is using default template. Let's use the red template. If I hit refresh, this will become red. And we're going to modify our red template, which we created in the previous lesson. We're going to modify this red template to print out the release date and the duration. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go to our red template, which I already have opened up over here. And yeah, so we're going to go ahead and, so this is the comments area. So let's see, there are no comments. I don't think comments are enabled for this content type. That's right. But this content, I know from experience that this part here is responsible for printing this part out. We're going to print out the release date. So you start with PHP tag, okay, and then we're going to type in this print R. Print R is just a PHP function to dump out some content because I want to be able to see what fields are available for me to print out. This is a WordPress function called get post meta. It's going to get some of those custom terms that we created. We're going to look at our post and look for the rating. No, not rating field. What we're looking for is duration field. Okay. Close PHP tag, hit save. We're going to go ahead and upload this template. And let's see if this actually works. Oh, we have an error. Let's see what the error is. This looks correct. Let me troubleshoot this some more. Well, one problem is we don't need the PHP tags right here because we already started up the open PHP tag here. And we have a closing PHP tag there, so we don't need this, at least for now. Let me see if that fixes the problem. All right, great. Okay, so we can see that something is coming up here. We're getting ID 125. So this is probably the term ID 125. Let me look something up. Advanced Custom Fields documentation. So this is the website for Advanced Custom Fields plugin. They have some documentation, and I found that there's a function called get fields that it takes the post ID and it'll return all the custom fields you've defined for that post type. So let's go ahead and try that function out instead, right? So instead of this, let's say actually get fields as described in this documentation, and only takes one, only really needs one argument, mandatory argument. Now let's go ahead and upload this. Let's go back to our website, hit refresh. Oh, and there you go. We have our duration field and we have a release date field. So let's print this more nicely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually store this as a variable. Is equal to these fields. And then I'm going to go ahead and echo, or I can just, I could do this, echo. Let's put it around a strong tag. dot $movie field. So the dot, the period is a way of concatenating these values together into one string. Call it duration dot strong. Right? So that's one way of printing the duration right there. We upload. Yeah. Refresh. There we go. So duration is like that. Actually, let's make it a little bit nicer. Okay. So we could do an echo statement, or we can escape the PHP, closing PHP tag, and then open up another PHP tag. And then instead here, you can say, do another strong. Well, let's do a break tag. Right, strong. And then we can do the, we can say release date. There you go. All right. So this will just echo the value release date here within this HTML content. Hit refresh. And there we go. So similar effect, similar result. We print out the release date and we print out the duration in two different ways. So that's how you can print out these new fields that you've created for this content type.